Welcome back. You just saw Ellie Krieger. She is my hero. She is one of the few Food Network type chefs that when you're on a diet, you can be totally pretty much safe when you watch what she is bringing you and serving up. So what she recommended is this fantastic recipe called better beef lasagna. That is what it looks like. Looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? So we wanted to experiment and see, could we make it? There's, to me, no point in making something from a recipe if it's too hard to make at home. So, you know, you're not going to incorporate it into your meals if it's just impossible. So we thought we'd put it to the test. And we're following her recipe, which can be found in her book, and we'll also link to that recipe on fullplate.tv. But let's just get right into it. The first thing we did before we started the program, I already did this, is we took some lasagna. Now, this is my Kroger brand lasagna, but it is whole wheat lasagna. You do not want to be getting this lasagna that is not whole wheat. You've got to make the switch. At first, you're not going to be, I guess, totally in love with it. You kind of have to get used to it. But I will tell you, I always use whole wheat pasta now. For spaghetti, for lasagna, for whatever kind of noodles, this is what I buy. So you got to do that, and that is her first bit of advice. We already boiled those off. They have to be al dente. You know how that goes because we're going to make it into a lasagna that's going to bake. So just get those a little bit, but not all the way cooked through. Also, what we did before you got here was we took two ingredients. This is her little trick. We have 8 ounces of ground beef, and it's 90% lean. You're going to look in the meat case. You want the 90% lean ground beef, okay? So we've got 8 ounces of that I browned before you got here. And then we bought portobello mushrooms. This is what it looks like. They're the big mushrooms. And I'm going to give you a little tip. They're not exactly the cheapest thing in the world, but I happened to find at my store a manager's special. So I bought them and cut them up, and that's what they look like. You're going to want 8 ounces of them and make it sort of, chop it up. Do a rough chop. You don't have to spend your life chopping up these mushrooms. Do a rough chop. You're going to saute them separately. And I did all this because I didn't have enough time in this segment to do the whole deal, but I sauteed the mushrooms with some olive oil, and I browned the beef, and then I combined it. And then I picked some marinara sauce. Now, she has a recipe for marinara. I purchased it, though. I got a light, low-salt marinara. You obviously want it to be red. You're going to put about 2 cups in with your ground beef and your mushrooms, and that's it. So these are kind of our get ready, what we need to do before we layer in this lasagna. And then here's her other trick. I don't know about you, but I don't usually have a ton of spinach in my lasagna. This recipe has a ton of spinach. So it's about 10 ounces doesn't equal a ton, but it's a figuratively ton. Here's the lasagna. You can use frozen lasagna, already chopped, but make sure that it's thawed and kind of drained, and I put it on a paper towel. And then you're going to take a 15 ounce, this is what this is, ricotta cheese. If you say it like Giada, what does she say? Ricotta. I'm Polish, so we just say ricotta. At any rate, this is about 15 ounces. If you can find a lighter version, get it. And you're going to mix that up together. Take a look there. I actually saw some, comments about this recipe, and some people say it's too much spinach. They want a little less spinach, but I feel like for these kind of recipes, the more you add of the vegetables, the better off you're going to be. This whole thing is going to take like an 800 calorie per serving lasagna and turn it into about a 500 calorie per serving lasagna. You're going to pick every cheese as a lighter cheese, and if you're going to add something, add to the vegetables. Okay, so she also puts a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and that is it. So I'm going to need to get a spoon here real quick. Hopefully I have one. Haha, I do. Okay. So this is all she does. Just now, no different than lasagna that you've ever made. You take your, I'm going to move this forward, take your 13 by 9, 8 by 11, put your sauce on there first, okay? And then we're going to take our lasagna. Now you might notice that these are smaller than what you saw in the box. Darn things didn't fit in my pot, right? So I had to improvise. And you're just going to layer that in like so. All right, I'm actually going to put a little bit more pepper, a little bit more salt. Oh, she also likes a pinch of nutmeg. So put a little pinch of nutmeg all into your cheese mixture, okay? So after you put your sauce, noodle, you're going to do about half of this. You're going to layer this on, which is your cheese mixture. Not all, but just half. So there's that layer. It's not pretty, but it's lasagna, so it doesn't have to be. All right, so then you do another layer of our noodles. You don't want to don't want them overlapping. You want them to be nice next to each other. Okay. Now we're going to take half of our meat mixture. Okay. And this is our meat and our mushrooms and our marinara, the 3 M's. Again, I did the mushrooms with just like a tablespoon of olive oil. You're going to marinate those mushrooms just kind of till they get brown. It doesn't take very long at all. All right, so then there's that layer. And then we're going to take some more of our noodles. And again, this is the hardest part, just layering it all in. Move this over here for me. I'm going to just rip that one there. Look, it's like a puzzle. All right, so there's our other layer. And now we're going to do the rest of our cheese. And I just think the green looks really beautiful. And that's kind of also where it's going to look a little different than your traditional lasagna. It's a little greener. The noodles are a little browner, but it's still beautiful. All right, and then another noodle layer. Look at this, right? All right, and then finally we'll do one more meat layer. I'm going to turn off my burner so I don't burn myself. And we'll do one more layer of our meat on here. Okay. Not bad, right? And again, just keep layering until you use up all what you got. Scoop a little more. And there we go. And then our final layer of, I'm going to put a little bit, no, we'll just keep going. We're going to put our final layer of noodles on top. And look at this, I'm almost going to be perfect with the amount of noodles, so I don't want to mess with the perfection. Okay, so then the other trick, we're going to put more of our marinara on the top. Saved a little bit, right? Put that on the top. I'm going to use the rest of it. Because the nice thing about an Ellie Krieger recipe is that she has calculated all of the things that you need to calculate. Sometimes when you look at recipes, you try to put it in your MyFitnessPal later and you have no idea what to put in. All of her nutritionals, because she's a dietitian, nutritionist, she does all that work for you. Now, 2 more things that she adds, and that is a mozzarella cheese, and you know me, I go with light cheese all the time. She recommends it as well. I don't have to switch it out. She already recommends it. So we're going to put the layer of mozzarella on top. Doesn't it look like regular lasagna all of a sudden? And it's going to taste like it too. I had it last night, and it's fantastic, like she said. And then a little bit of Parmesan. I didn't do anything different with the Parmesan. It's just regular old Parmesan cheese to put on top. And there, it looks pretty good, right? So 375 degrees, and actually I'm going to take this right now. We're going to cover it and cook it for about 45 minutes. So I'm going to put it in my oven here, which I had preheated. And in about 45 minutes, I'm going to take off my foil so we brown the top. But that is it. Take a look again. I've got a picture of what it looks like when it's done. Even pretty on a paper plate. You know it's good if it's pretty on a paper plate. And again, 500 calories per serving of her better beef lasagna, Ellie Krieger. I'll link you to the recipe. And if you come back in an hour and a half, you can have some lasagna with me. All right, stay with me. We're going to do some back to school shopping that's not only good looking, it's affordable. Sort of affordable. Stay with us.